Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. These are the weeks that were, are, and shall be. Lots to talk about here on the channel since the last episode of the weeks that were. Let's begin by talking about the 1-year anniversary of the release of The Way of Edan, Book 1 of the Edan trilogy by yours truly. And I am celebrating the anniversary of the release of the first book in the trilogy by offering all 3 books, the ebook version, for 99 cents each. That is going to begin on the 21st. That's the day I released The Way of Edan, March 21. And for 5 days, the 3 books, the ebook versions, will be available for 99 cents. So, for less than the cost of a cup of coffee at a Starbucks or something, you could get all 3 books just for $3, folks. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the way things have gone with the release. It's been almost a year. It's been a tremendous year. I am delighted with the reception. A lot of really wonderful people have given me great feedback, and every time I hear from a reader, I just feel elated. I feel fantastic that people have taken the time not only to read the books, but also to leave reviews on Goodreads and on Amazon and in blogs and do YouTube reviews of the books. I'm just very grateful and very fulfilled with all of that. I'd also like to do a shout out here for something really cool, and that is Map Maker Coffee. This is the invention of John Luke Robertson. Now, John Luke was gracious enough to appear on one of my discussions of the Edan trilogy. He was an early reader and reviewer, left some wonderful reviews on Goodreads, and on that basis, I reached out to him, and he participated in, I think it was the very first Edan trilogy discussion that I had with readers. And it was just fantastic. And John Luke has created this special coffee, Mapmaker Coffee, in collaboration with none other than Jack Shepard, who is the creator of the map for the Edan trilogy, of the Jormungand map. And this is just wonderful. If you look at this coffee, there's a map featured here. And it's got all kinds of really cool fantasy names like Roast Haven and Calfland, and really clever little titles. I'll see if you can see any of that. I'll hold it a little closer to the camera. Just wonderful. And I'm not even a coffee drinker, but man, the smell, the aroma is just enticing. And in fact, the coffee drinkers in my life, I got 2 of these and they grabbed one of them immediately upon smelling it. And I had to save this one so I could show it to you in the video. But I'll have a link in the description if you want to get some of this tremendous, wonderful coffee with a fantasy twist. I will leave a link in the description for you to go and order some. But it is wonderful that, in part, John Luke made this as a tribute to fantasy and even particularly the Edan trilogy. So I was just very, very thrilled to have a small role in the production of this really wonderful Map Maker coffee. So let's talk about what I've been up to on the channel. I have been doing some reviews on YouTube. Yes, reviews. And one was Bold Ascension by Von Roycroft. That is book 2 in the Sundered Nation trilogy. Had a wonderful time reading that. It is, of course, a continuation from The Severing Sun. And it is a historical fantasy that is very much inspired by the interactions between the Goths and the Romans. Really great stuff, great character work, wonderful action, and I just see this series going somewhere great. I can't wait for the 3rd book. I also did some reviews of SPFBO books. I'm having a great time with SPFBO. In fact, I recently let Mark Lawrence, the founder of the contest, know that I will be continuing as a judge, and I have enlisted the help of some really wonderful people, and I'm not going to name them yet. I'm still looking for one more person to help me out to be on the team going forward for SPFBO, because this has been a wonderful experience, but it has been a very busy experience as well, and I really needed some help to read all those books, but I'm really grateful to the individuals who've already agreed to be on my team, and I'll be announcing who they are perhaps in future weeks, but I'm just excited to continue with SPFBO. Some of my recent reviews include Master of the Void and the Wickwire Watch and The Fall is All There Is, and I am currently reading another SPFBO book. In addition to all these reviews, I have been doing some top 10 videos for the channel. Yes, I'm the guy who grumbles about how I hate making top 10 videos and how anxiety producing they are and so many other things. But I decided that maybe I could try to introduce a little nuance into the whole top 10 format, and I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone. Really in an attempt to create a conversation about what are the elements of fantasy and what exactly is it about some of our favorites that we really love? Can we dig into that a little bit? Is it the comedy? Is it the emotional experience? Is it the way the author makes us think? So yeah, I've been making videos on my top 10. Now, this is, as I say, a conversation. So I really love hearing from other people about their favorites as well. Just trying to start things up here with my picks. But I talk about the authors who make me think, the ones who make me cry and laugh. I've talked about my favorites in terms of prose and action and world building, and I probably have a couple more of these kinds of videos in me. But yeah, they've been great conversation starters, and I've really enjoyed the feedback I've been getting from this series. I've also had a couple episodes of Dear Dr. Fantasy, one with John from Talking Story. Had a great time talking with John. What a wonderful presence he is here on BookTube. What a really great member of our community. And I love the way he talks about books. I love his enthusiasm, and I love his deep philosophical approach to his reading. I really just appreciate that so much. And I also had a great chat with Andrew Watson, a fellow self-published author and wonderful booktuber and also video editor. He not only makes his own videos look great, but he helps out some of our friends, some of our other channels here on BookTube to make their videos look great. So it's really cool to talk with him, not only about his professional skills as an editor, but also as an author, and to get a sense of his experience, which in some ways does parallel my own. And finally on the channel, I had a really wonderful time talking with three wonderful individuals about the Mahabharata and its role in modern fantasy. Now, if you're not familiar with the Mahabharata, it is the greatest epic known to humanity, in my opinion. It is certainly about the longest, but it is just a tremendously wonderful story that it functions on so many different levels. It is thousands and thousands of years old. But my friends who joined me in the chat, Ruthin Bad and Mihir Wanchu and Gaurav Mohanty, all had wonderful things to say about this really important epic. And we had a really wonderful conversation about how this wonderful ancient text could possibly inspire a new generation of fantasy writers. Also on BookTube, I have appeared on other channels. People were gracious enough to invite me over. I was in some chats about the first book in the Dune series, Dune, over on Do Unicorns Read. Had a wonderful group over there. Also talked about the film in the final chat, and talked about the new film, Dune 2, with Evie, who hosted another conversation, and Joanna and John. And I had another chat on the Dune Part 2 with the Nemesis himself, AP Canavan, over at A Critical Dragon. And I was in another discussion, a great discussion over on Anita Gade's channel. This was about the topic of themes in fantasy. And joining us was Joanna and Evie. So really great time talking with those three. That was a really wonderful conversation. I've been in some chats about The Sandman by Neil Gaiman with AP and with Varsha from Reading by the Rainy Mountain. Having a great time with that series. And also I was in a chat with Derry from Derry's Read It Before about The Realm of the Elderlings. Really love that series. That is going to be an all-time favorite for the rest of my life. I guarantee it. And I was a guest on For Whom the Bell Tolls. This is the chat show that Brian over at BellTube is hosting and doing a fantastic job. He is knocking it out of the park with his channel. And it was just such a privilege and a joy to speak with Brian. Talk about wonderful presences here on BookTube. Just a wonderful individual. Brings so much fun and dynamism and insight to his channel. I really love it. Check out BellTube if you haven't yet. And I was in a chat with Shrikant over at the Nostalgic Dragon. This was a real treat because I've been communicating with Shrikant over on Twitter for quite a while, and he recently started his channel, The Nostalgic Dragon. Wonderful individual, very deep, really wonderful, calming person. I really enjoyed my chat with him. We had a good time discussing fantasy in general and some of my personal inspirations and yeah, a little bit about the Edan trilogy and other things, but he is a fellow Malazan fan, and he had a recent wonderful interview with Steven Erikson. So if you haven't checked out The Nostalgic Dragon and you're a Malazan fan, go on over. And another chat that I've been in, or series of chats, and I have to address this because unfortunately it hasn't gone as well as we might have hoped. It went great in the sense that I had a really wonderful time talking with Murphy and Mike and Alan about One Piece, and I'm really enjoying the series. Unfortunately, we had some somewhat extreme reactions to the discussions, and it was decided that we would no longer, that we would not continue doing these discussions on One Piece. However, that said, I am going to continue reading One Piece, and I am going to try to figure out how I'm going to discuss it going forward. I imagine that Mike is going to continue reading, so we'll see. We're just a little bit shell-shocked from the experience with the feedback on the first 3 chats, which again, I had a great time talking with my friends, and many of the people watching were very supportive as well. But it was just, I think, a better decision to go forward in a different way. So yeah, and some of our friends have some big life events happening as well. So this is just going to be for the best, I think, that we figure out a new way. But I'm going to continue reading, as I say, One Piece, and I'm really loving it. I am laughing all the time and feeling more and more connected to the characters in there and beginning to understand why people love the series so much. So, in terms of what else I'm reading right now, I am continuing with my SPFBO reads. Right now, I'm on Daughter of the Beast, and I will be releasing a review of that hopefully on Tuesday. And I'm continuing in the Wars of Light and Shadow. I'm going to take a little break from SPFBO and read Jenny Wirtz's Grand Conspiracy. And I'll be talking about this book with Joanna and AP, and very much looking forward to that. And then I will be after that, continuing with more SPFBO, probably through the bulk of April. And when I finish the SPFBO reads, I am going to jump into Mark Lawrence's The Book That Broke the World. This is book 2 of the Library Trilogy, which started with The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which was my favorite book of 2023. And so I can't wait to get into The Book That Broke the World. Hopefully right when it releases, if I'm quick enough with the SPFBO reads. We'll see, it'll be close. But I'm going to jump onto that in April, one way or another. And then in May, I'm excited for what's happening in May. Obviously, I have a lot on my plate, but I am finishing up some big stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to jump on some new stuff. Not quite new, actually. I'll be continuing in the second Apocalypse series with The Judging Eye. This is the first book in the Aspect Emperor series, which is the continuation after the Prince of Nothing trilogy by Baker, but it's all second Apocalypse. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I know that Joanna is going to be joining me, and hopefully we can get Jimmy back and the old crew when we were discussing the second Apocalypse series. Raph Bluetaxt was discussing the Prince of Nothing with us as well. And then I'm going to start this little series here. I have the novella, The Fall, and I have Of Blood and Fire, the first book, the first novel in The Bound and the Broken by Ryan Cahill. Been hearing so much about this series, and I'm looking forward to jumping into it. And I will be joined by John from Talking Stories in this read, and perhaps a couple other people as well. So I'm really excited to be getting into The Bound and the Broken finally, after hearing so much buzz. I need to continue in the Dresden Files. I'm looking forward to that. I've been hearing such great things about Book 7, which is where I am, Dead Beat. So finally going to get back into that. I'm going to continue with P.L. Stewart's series, The Drowned Kingdom Saga, and I'm on book 2, The Last of the Atalantians. Really loved the first book, A Drowned Kingdom. I thought that it was one of the most reminiscent reads I've ever encountered of the classic epics, particularly the Aeneid in the case of A Drowned Kingdom. So I'm really excited to see where P.L. Stewart takes this series. And I want to continue to read some other self-published fantasy as well in the year to come, books that are outside of SPFBO, but books that have been sent to me by wonderful authors. I'm excited to get into many of those. And I'm going to continue at some point, finish up the Ursi books. I reread the first 4, and I need to read the last of the novels and the short stories. And then I'd like to make a video on Ursi, a kind of a why you should read type video, or maybe why I love Ursi, or that sort of thing. And I have a bunch of other reads that I want to get to, some recent purchases of mine. I really wanted to, after hearing so much praise, especially from the brothers Gwyn, but also many others of Anna Smith Sparks' work, I got a couple of her books. These are both standalones, A Woman of the Sword and A Sword of Bronze and Ashes. And I'm excited to, based on what I hear, I think Anna Smith Spark and I have a lot of common influences and inspirations. So I'm excited to get into that. After making my video about prose, I was told by many of the viewers how I really need to get into Gormenghast, and so I went and bought Mervyn Peake's trilogy. I hope to get to these 3 books. This is all in one. It's an omnibus of the trilogy, beginning with Titus Grown and then Gormenghast and Titus Alone. So that is something I'd love to get into, to get a taste of just how great Mervyn Peake's prose is. And so I'm looking forward to that. And speaking of great prose, I have Guy Gavriel Kay's Tigana, which I bought with the intention of rereading this. It's been many, many years, decades in fact, since I read that. And I'm hoping to read some more Guy Gavriel Kay for the channel, probably late this year, maybe next year I will do a whole bunch more. I also got The Sword of Kaigen, kept hearing about this one too, so I thought, I need some great standalones, want to support the self-published fantasy, and yeah, so I got The Sword of Kaigen. So I don't know when I'm squeezing all this in, but I can say that I will probably be beginning this one in September, Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. I am hearing great things about Sun Eater all the time, so that is a series I will be jumping into, as well as the Dandelion Dynasty. I don't have the book yet, but I've ordered the first book in that series, so I'm excited to get into Dandelion Dynasty probably around September. So yeah, I mean, I'm jumping way ahead here, but I had all these books and I was excited to show them to you. But yeah, those are my plans, and we'll see what happens. Lots of great stuff going to happen here. I am looking forward to a couple more Dear Dr. Fantasy episodes that I have, one already filmed, in fact, and another that is planned. And I will have more chats in and around BookTubes. I'm just excited to be here, and so grateful for your support, your comments, your likes, everything. Just wonderful to be here and to share this experience with you all. That is it for me for now. Until next time.